Some mornings I wake up with the confidence to take on the world. Some mornings before my feet even hit the floor, I have this idea that no matter what I face that day, I can take it on. No matter who I have a conversation with, I can encourage them and I can lift them up. And then other mornings, like this morning, I feel like an imposter. Some mornings, like this morning, I feel like whatever challenge the world gives me, I won't be able to take it on. And I'm sharing this with you because I know I'm not the only human being on this planet who feels this way sometimes. In fact, my guess is that most people on this planet, most human beings feel this way at times. And so I want to share this with you, one, simply to let you know you're not alone, and two, to share a couple thoughts about feeling like an imposter that may resonate with you. And maybe you don't need to hear this today. Maybe you don't need to hear this tomorrow. Maybe it's next week or maybe sometime next month. What I share with you today may encourage you. There's two thoughts about being an imposter. One is to be okay with it. One is to not push it away. Our human brains cannot focus on something, cannot focus on something. And I'll share with you a funny story about this. We play this game called driveway ball. I made it up a couple years. Our driveway is at a slant, and so we put two cones about a car width apart in the garage, and we roll a ball down the driveway. And in between the cones is a point. First person to 10 wins. And we have this variation of a game where every time somebody scores a point, we bring the cones closer together. Brady and I were playing a couple weeks ago, and the cones were very close together, but still further apart than the width of the cone itself. So the cone is not as wide as the distance between the cones. And I was so focused on not hitting the cones that I got really good at hitting the cones and not scoring any points. I was better at hitting the width this far apart than I was at this part because I was focused on not hitting this. When a skier goes down a hill, I've never been skiing, but I've been told, when a skier goes down a hill, if they focus on not hitting the trees, they're going to hit the trees. Our brains cannot comprehend not focusing on something. And so when we choose to not focus on being an imposter, we end up focusing on being an imposter. And we become what we focus on. We start acting as if we're an imposter. And so my first piece of advice to you today, is to be okay with it. To realize, oh, that's how I woke up this morning. Those are the thoughts that are going through my head. Thoughts like, who do you think you are, Derek? To share videos every day to try and encourage people. Who are you, Derek? To assume that your life is so interesting that you could share a piece of it every day in authenticity and vulnerability. Who are you, Derek? And I'm curious if you've ever felt that way. Who are you to be doing this? Again, my guess is that most human beings on this planet have had that thought before. Don't push it away. Just recognize, oh, that's my thought. And that's okay. I don't have to live according to that thought, but that was my thought when I woke up this morning. And really, that idea about being an imposter comes up when I focus on me. What are people going to think about me? Oh, are they going to find me out? I have this fear of being exposed sometimes, and I don't even know who's going to expose me other than just like social media or the public. But being exposed for what? Being exposed for having a real life where I have doubts and fears and hopes and dreams? Being exposed for what? For being a human being? Feeling inadequate, I think, is a human condition at times. Am I going to be exposed for being a human being? Like, I make this facetious sometimes, but really when I don't stop and think about what am I afraid of being exposed for, I make it this really big thing when really it's just, oh, I'm a human being. I'm a human being. I'm not a robot. And you are too. I know that about you. And so when I'm focused on me, I can make this imposter syndrome thing really big. But the moment I focus on others, and it's not about me, then does it matter if I feel like an imposter? If I see somebody that I can serve, if I step up and serve them, I don't really need to think about, oh, what are they going to think about me? Serving is not about creating a scenario in which somebody thinks well of me. If that's what, and I've made serving people to be out to be that before, where I will choose to do this because I think it'll make them think good of me. That's not serving. Now, maybe there's some good that comes out of it for them, but that's not serving. That's selfish. Being an imposter, focusing on being an imposter, for me, it comes out of a perception of what other people are going to think about me. That's really selfish. So being an imposter, focusing on not being an imposter, is really about selfishness. So one is just recognize that, I woke up this morning feeling like an imposter. I'm focused on what do people think about me. I'm a human being today. Congratulations. And we can take action anyway. So don't resist it. Just recognize it for what it is. These are the thoughts and these are the feelings that I'm having. The second idea around being an imposter is the idea of the only reason that imposter syndrome is even a thing is because we think that we're supposed to be perfect. And the moment that we realize that we're not supposed to be perfect, that we were made as imperfect human beings, perfectly made as imperfect human beings, then the whole concept of imposter syndrome just completely disintegrates. The whole basis for imposter syndrome is that I'm supposed to have it all together. And when I realize that I'm not supposed to have it all together, there is nothing for me to be an imposter about. Who am I to think that I can make videos? It doesn't matter who I think that I am. I'm choosing to do it. If one person's encouraged by it, fantastic. It helps me work through some of my thoughts as I'm working through these videos. It helps me be more authentic. It helps me be more vulnerable. It helps me elevate others around me so they live a life that they hear, well done, thou good and faithful servant, when they get to heaven. Being an imposter is all predicated on that we're supposed to have it all together. We're not supposed to have it all together. Let's not have a pity party that we feel inadequate. Let's not have a pity party that we want to curl up in a ball and hide in a corner and hope nobody notices. Let's not have a pity party. Let's have a courage party. Let's have a courage party that says, I woke up today feeling a little inadequate. I woke up today and the question crossed my mind, who do you think you are to be doing this? And let's take action anyway. And let's take a small step anyway. And it's not about having a big significant step today. Because if you truly think about it, if I truly stop to think about it, any significant result that happens in the future is really small steps built on each other consistently, one day at a time. And so today it's not about going and doing anything big and boisterous and courageous. I mean, maybe you're going to speak in front of 1,000 people today, but you don't do that every day. Maybe your podcast is going to be heard by 1 million people today. That's pretty cool. Maybe your business is going to have a breakthrough revenue day today. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe your kid's going to win the spelling bee today. That'd be pretty cool. But see, these things don't happen every day, and the chances that today is not going to be any kind of significant result day for you. That's okay. Life is not about just achieving results. Life is about doing what matters today. And we talk about doing small things. We talk about doing insignificant things every day. Well, let's take the labels off them for a second. What if they're not small things? What if they're not insignificant things? What if they're things? What if they are doing the things that matter the most? And let's stop calling them big or small or significant or insignificant. Let's be faithful today. Let's not have a pity party. Let's have a courage party where we do the things that matter most. Will you do that with me today?